Damn, in the building. You have to do that. I be having to do that, man, every time, man. Set things up, man. Like I said, I wanted to add this one to the last bill, but we're gonna put it on this one. Rapper N9ne defends Eminem being a culture vulture. Rapper N9ne, uh, he defends Eminem about being a culture vulture. You know what I mean? That's the name of this one right here. And if I'm not mistaken, this conversation came up with Lord Jamar. Shout out Lord Jamar, you know what I'm saying? And the Godcat, what's the name is? The N9ne Godcast and all that. Shout out Lord Jamar. But the topic came up when Lord Jamar was on Vlad TV. Lord Jamar said that Eminem was a guest in the house of hip hop. That's what he said. It wasn't a culture vulture. But somehow I guess the conversation got part seven. The conversation got turned into Eminem being a culture vulture. So since the conversation got switched, I'm gonna speak on that, on him being a culture vulture, even though that wasn't the original topic. Lord Jamar said he was a guest in the house of hip hop, and somehow, I guess the crazy Eminem fans or whatever, they turned it into we said, well, Lord Jamar saying he was a culture vulture, which he never said that. But since they want to turn it into that, we're gonna have that conversation. You know what I mean? So basically N9ne defended against Eminem being a culture vulture. You know what I mean? So without further ado, let me start this thing off right. This is Asar Ra of Indigenous People Media Outlet, Energy and Love to the Universal Family. You know what I mean? All right, now, N9ne, he does an Instagram live. No, part self, he does an Instagram video. And he said that basically he said that a rap. He's a rapper. N9ne, this is N9ne speaking about himself. He said that he's a rapper and that he does rock shows. You know what I'm saying? And he said he listened to all different type of music, from jazz to the blues to R&B, rap, rock. He listened to everything, and he said that he performs at rock shows. So he said that basically, how can Eminem be looked at as a culture vulture if he does rock shows? N9ne. If N9ne does rock shows, he was speaking of himself. He say, so how can Eminem be a culture vulture? One, Lord Jamar, shout out Lord Jamar and Rod Digger and the N9ne Godcast. Lord Jamar said he was a guest in the house of hip hop. He never said he was a culture vulture, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm saying? Dame Dash is the one that coined that culture vulture phrase, and he called like Lyrical Kohan or whatever, however you say his name, the Jewish guy. He called him a culture vulture, and several other big time executives that wasn't necessarily uh, of the African American persuasion, and they was eating off of hip hop. So that's why Dame Dash called those dudes culture vulture. I don't remember nobody saying that Eminem was a culture vulture, but since the conversation arose, we're gonna have that conversation on if he's a culture vulture or not. And I'm gonna address N9ne because N9ne said he basically called anybody out to address him. So I'm gonna address him. And he said since he does rock, how can Eminem be looked at as a culture vulture? N9ne, my man, you have to before you speak, man, you gotta know your history, man. And you being a rap artist, or what you could say a musician, I'm surprised you don't know this right here, Tech 9. Tech 9, original people, indigenous people, so-called black people, African American people created rock and roll, man. Indigenous people, man, so-called black people created all the music genres. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing music since ancient times. You know what I'm saying? Basically, that's where most of the music instruments come from, and just the whole concept of music is basically it comes from the so-called black man. You know what I'm saying? Man, y'all hit that like button as you come into the room, man. You know what I mean? Don't be disrespectful, man. But yeah, man, Tech 9, man, you got to do your history. You got to know your history, man. You got to know that. So you not being a culture vulture by basically doing rock and roll or doing rock shows because our people was the one that created that genre too, man. We created all the genres. And pretty much once we create the genre, the the Caucasian or the European, they they commercialize it. You know what I'm saying? They commercialize these genres. So it's like basically when we on to the next thing, they're still doing our old music. Or they just figuring out how to do it. So they're commercializing it. And another thing, reason how they're able to commercialize it is because we all know that the so-called African Americans is only like 12%, no more than 15% of the population in the country. So that means if I put out a song, only 12% of the people is gonna naturally gravitate to it. But if a European puts out a song, they got what like 65% of the country that's gonna gravitate to it. So that's how they was able to commercialize our music. You know what I'm saying? And take our music and now we look at rock and roll and we got people like Tech 9 feel like he's being a culture vulture for doing rock when really our people created rock music too. We created all of the music genres. Whether you got R&B, jazz, hip hop, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, that's basically our creations. You know what I'm saying? Their creation was the monetization of it. The European was able to monetize it. Now that was his. That's how capitalism. That's his thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the European. He's all about capitalism. He want to see when he sees something, he's thinking of okay, how can I make some money off of that? You know what I'm saying? And that's where he was able to step in, and that's why we don't control hip hop to this day. Is because when hip hop was being formatted in the beginning of stages, instead of us letting it have a doing like these artists today and going the independent route, we ran straight to the big record labels. And that blueprint that was set of how the record industry was going at the time, basically it was only one blueprint. So the dudes that was at the lead, they didn't know. They figured they had to go to the big record labels. That was the only way that they knew. You know what I'm saying? They didn't understand about how powerful it was to be independent. You know what I'm saying? And or just the power of independence. They didn't understand that, which I don't judge them for that. You know what I'm saying? But that's just is what it is. But that was how they was able to take over hip hop. And now we the hip hop is the biggest genre in the world, but we don't own it. We only make so much of a percentage of the money as far as the artists, the so-called black artists that do hip hop. You know what I'm saying? We only get so much of a percentage because the executives make most of the money off of the genre. You know, so that's the same thing that went on with all the rest of the genre, whether it was R&B, soul, rhythm and blues, jazz, even country music. Country music is just a spinoff of rhythm and blues. Country music is a spinoff of rhythm and blues. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, N9ne, man, you got to do your history, man. You're an artist, you're a musician, and I hope this gets to you. I hope you see this. You know, this is not a shot at you. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you don't know, so I can't hold you to that. You know what I'm saying? But this is just to inform you. For a matter of fact, I'm gonna send this video to you on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna shoot it to you on Twitter and all that. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully this message gets to you, man. You know, we got to do our history. And my case that I can make for Eminem being a culture vulture, I don't think that he's a culture vulture by choice. You know, it's just like one of those things where it's like he didn't get into hip hop to be a culture vulture, but how every genre that we come up with, they take it over and they put a white face on it. Basically, he's a culture vulture by default because he's coming and he's basically trying to do the same thing that they did to all the rest of our genres. They took it over. He's the biggest selling artist pretty much in hip hop history. And it's not because he's the most talented, but it's just because it's a white face on the culture. You know what I mean? So just that alone, just by him being a white face in a culture that's not of his culture, it makes him a culture vulture. Especially if he's not front line for the issues that just goes on in this culture. Now, if Eminem was like front line for reparations and like really, standing up for the people of that culture, front line, you know what I'm saying? Then I could say, okay, Bim, boy ain't a culture vulture. You know what I'm saying? He out there, he on front line, he front lining. He fighting harder than some. That's the same thing like Kaepernick. I can't, even though Kaepernick is a mixed brother, I can't call him a culture vulture because he front line. You know what I'm saying? Even if he not front lining no more, at one point he was on the front line. You know what I'm saying? So if Eminem was front lining the culture and and everything that came with it at any point in his career, then I could be like, nah, son ain't a culture vulture. But since he just pretty much used the culture for personal benefit, that makes him a culture vulture. You know what I mean? That makes him a culture vulture. I know he helped. Now, I know Eminem has helped a lot of brothers as far as a lot of dudes from Detroit, he put them on as far as the music. A lot of brothers. He came up with brothers, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of brothers out of Detroit, he put them on. So he did give back in that sense, but it's basically, he just put his homies on. It's basically what all he did. I mean, who ain't gonna put their homies on if they make it out the hood? So that's really ain't even, that's almost unexpected to do, even though it's still commendable because some people don't even do that. They make it out the hood and they leave their homies in the hood. So, at least he had enough morals and principles to where he put his homies on. But as far as him doing something and giving back to the culture that made him who he is, I didn't never see him do that. So just in that sense, he's a culture vulture. You know what I'm saying? And now this conversation, this is just for the sake of argument or just for the sake of debate. You're able to feel how you want to feel about the topic. But this is how I see it. It's pretty much basically what I'm trying to say is like it's almost a frivolous topic, but at the same time, it can be used as a teaching tool. You know what I'm saying? And for him, N9ne not to understand that Eminem is a culture vulture, and he thinks that N9ne thinks that he is a culture vulture by doing rock music. It just shows me that he doesn't have a good grasp on history. That's all it shows me. It doesn't say like he's a bad dude or he's a It's a little coonish. It's a little coonish behavior. I can't say that. And I know N9ne is a blood dude. You know what I'm saying? He's a blood. He rep the blood, and he's from Kansas City. So he's cut from some kind of real kind of cloth. But a lot of times in that gang community, in that gang, like the gang mindset, it's a self-hate type of mindset. Because we know it's like the Mexican gangs, they fight with the Mexican gang. The black gangs fight with the black gangs. The Asian gangs fight with the Asian gangs. It's like a self-hate type of mentality. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them dudes do have like a coonish type of mindset. You know what I'm saying? It's very rare to where you see a conscious brother coming out of that world, like a Nipsey Hussle or different people like that. You know what I'm saying? It's conscious and it's basically speaking against all those things with the gang lifestyle was built off of. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing should stay the same. Everything should evolve. So just because gangs was built off of self-hate type of mindset, you know, that can be changed. You know what I'm saying? And Nipsey was trying to do that. So, you know, rise and power to the boy Nipsey, man. Rest up, King. You know what I mean? But yeah, N9ne, he comes from that gang culture. And he's basically showing me that, you know, he has that same mindset for him to even come out his mouth with that. Yeah, man, I can't respect that. It's nothing against him, but he needs to get a better grasp on his history, man. Especially him being an artist, he should know about the music industry. You know what I'm saying? The history of it. You should know that. Like even when you going into these executive offices, you know what I'm saying? In these meetings, you need to know that because you need to know how these artists, the Cadillac records and how these artists was getting screwed out their money, through in the history of that music industry. You need to know this. You need to have, you need to know these things, man. For you, when you go in there, you could be like, okay, bam, they ain't about to do me like this. You feel me? And I'm not saying that he doesn't have a good record deal, but his deal is not exceptional deal because I can't count his pockets. I don't know nothing about his deal, but these things help you when you go into these executive meetings with these execs. Knowing the history and being able to, be like, well, Bill, I want a label deal. I don't want to be signed as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. And yeah, man. So it's a lot of ways I could break down how Eminem is a culture vulture, but it's not like intentional. It's by default. You know what I'm saying? He came up in the hood rapping with brothers. So, it was like a natural thing for him. But by default, just by him being a white face on the culture, that's and he haven't given back to the culture, you know what I'm saying, in a major type of way. How the culture has blessed him, he hasn't given back to the culture in that same way. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like it's not a give and take relationship. You know what I mean? It's like that's what makes him a culture vulture. It's not a give and take relationship. Because like you say, he came up. It was a natural process. He came up with brothers rapping. You know what I'm saying? That's why he was able to excel because he was a hip hop historian. He was putting up the game. You know what I'm saying? He fell short when he didn't give the game or give the culture the same love that the culture gave him. Now, I can't say that majority of the people that probably was buying them Eminem albums when he was at the height of his career was probably Europeans, but at the same time, they was loving him for hip hop. They wasn't loving him for, you know, being a rock and roll artist or any of those things, even though rock was created by the original man, you know what I'm saying, the so-called black man. You know, hip hop basically is how he made his claim to fame. You know what I'm saying? That's how he was able to create generational wealth. You know, so I mean, he gave us 50 Cent. 50 Cent is damn near one of the biggest coons in the fucking industry as far as just all the charades and all the monkey suits he puts on from day to day. You feel me? So it's like, what really did you give us? You know what I'm saying? 50 had like one or two good albums. You know, they always make the argument was, you respect the shooter and not the one who got shot. But if somebody gets shot, whether it was 3 times or 9 times, because that's sketchy when it comes to 50. But anybody that's a survivor is gonna be, it's commendable. You know what I'm saying? A survivor in any walk of life. Being a survivor is commendable. But like in the street world, the gangster world, it's you respect the shooter, not the one who got shot. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they didn't get no get back, if they didn't do nothing about it. That's a whole nother topic, man. But the Tech-9 defending Eminem, it's like, my man, do your history, brother. You know what I'm saying? You get out here looking crazy, man. You can rap your ass off, fam, but it's like, man, that's why these rappers, man, we can't look for these rappers to be our leaders, man. You know what I'm saying? A leader is chosen by the people. And just because a person got a bag and got a lot of influence, don't make them a leader, because they can influence you down the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of top gang leaders. These dudes is sharp dudes, and they got a lot of influence, but they leading people down the wrong path. They leading people to RICO cases and all kind of madness. You feel me? So just because you got a lot of influence, don't mean you should be in a position of a leader. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's why we can't have these rappers as our leaders, man. This has to be somebody that's definitely qualified for the job. You know what I'm saying? And it's not about just looking up to one leader. Because even when Malcolm was around, he wasn't the only one that was putting in that work. He wasn't the only one putting in that pain. You had other leaders at the time. So it's multiple leaders. We have multiple leaders. We all are leaders. We're born leaders. But, through society and through the programs that we face, some people choose to, it's like a monkey see, monkey do kind of society. You feel me? So, yeah, man, but we can't have more than one leader. It's just the person or the people have to be qualified for the job. You know what I mean? As simple as that. You know what I'm saying? And we have a lot of leaders in the community now. You know what I'm saying? It's just the focus aren't put on the ones that it should be put on. In this society, it's about whoever got the bag. That's who's going to get all the attention. You know what I'm saying? So we have plenty of leaders in this community, but capitalism plays a big part in where we at right now as a people. And I don't want to get too far off the topic. You know what I'm saying? Because I could go on and on. I can go all day on this topic. Tech-9, if you see this message, you bugging, man. We created rock and roll, man. Our people created rock and roll. You can do rock and roll all you want to, brother. I don't care how many rock and roll shows you go and tear the stage down on. You can do that. And you're not a culture vulture because we created that genre. Eminem, he didn't give back to the culture how the culture gave to him, how the culture blessed him. He didn't give back. He signed a couple dudes out of Detroit. He gave us 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? But who ain't gonna put your homies on when you get on? You know what I'm saying? You're a real, I don't even want to cuss, but you're a real sucker, man, if you don't at least put your homies on, you know what I'm saying, to take care of your family, you know what I mean? When you get on, you know what I mean? That's expected of you. So who ain't, Eminem did that. Okay, cool. That's expected of you, and some people don't even do that. So yeah, give Eminem a clap for that. But did he give back to the culture the way the culture gave to him? No. You know what I'm saying? So that makes him a culture vulture, you know what I mean? But yeah, man. We ain't gonna go on and on, man. As you come into the building, tap that like button, man. Show love. The reason why, man, hitting that like button is a way of donations. That's a way to donate. You don't always gotta have money to donate. You know what I'm saying? Which money, it's appreciated. You know what I'm saying? You know, hit the Cash App off or whatever. It's $ Fuji Simmons, Fuji Simmons. You know, that's much appreciated, but that's not the only way you could donate. You could donate just by hitting the like button. You know what I'm saying? So always remember that, man. You know what I'm saying? Show love and the love is reciprocated. You feel me? But another reason why we always ask you to hit the like button is because it brings the video up in the suggestions. The more likes a video gets, it gets put in the suggestions. You know what I'm saying? And it's able to get more views and people able to see the video. So that's why we always ask you to hit that like button. It's for the suggestions. It gets recommended and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, without further ado, you know, we're gonna be coming to you with more and more of these bills so y'all get used to it. I'll probably start putting at some point I'm gonna start putting a what you call that where you set it and then you set a certain time when you're gonna go live, and then you schedule. I'm gonna start scheduling the lives at some point. I'm gonna start scheduling my lives where y'all will be able to see when I'm going live. Because right now it's gonna be sporadic. We just gonna hit you any time of the day or whatever. Probably it'll be around this time of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the most when I got the most free time. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is not my only life. I got a life outside of YouTube. So certain times of the day is better for me, but I'm gonna be sporadic with it. You know what I'm saying? You never know when I'm gonna come in, and at some point I'm gonna start scheduling my lives. You know what I mean? But until then, it is what it is. Y'all subscribe to this channel. Y'all hit the notification bell. Subscribe to my other two channels, Urban Media Fix and Hip Hop Media Outlet. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell on them two channels too, because I go live on all three channels. You know what I mean? And on them channels, this is my conscious channel, so it's more of a. I try to put a conscious spin to every topic. You know what I'm saying? On those channels, we go in. It's more controversial type of information. You know what I'm saying? You know, what you could say in the best terms possible. All things in urban media, hip hop, that's over there. You know what I'm saying? That's over there in them two channels. On this channel, it's more. It's my conscious channel. Everything that has to do with indigenous people, the so-called black man in the United States or really in the world, we cover on this channel. You know what I'm saying? So you never know what topics we're gonna come with on this channel. You know what I'm saying? But it will have a conscious spin to it. You know what I mean? And yeah, affiliate channel. Our affiliate channel is Trap House Boxing. Go subscribe to Trap House Boxing. Hit the notification bell over there. That's all things boxing. Tap in with my folk. Yeah, tap in with my folk. But besides that, man, that's pretty much it for now. I might go live again later on. We're gonna see as the information unfolds. I will be coming back to you with some more builds. And I look forward, man, to interacting with my people, man. I love this shit, man. What can I say, man? You know what I mean? Cosmic salute to the universal family. Energy and love. I'm out. Peace.